plastic shaping here. Pretty simple process, in theory at least. This is my favorite part, play with plastic, really see what you can do with it. There we go. Up a lot of the area around it too, just in case any of it is deformed. As you can see, as we're heating up the area into here, you can see the plastic, the crease coming through, pointed outward. That's the high point on the other side. We got the plastic a little hot there, that's okay. We want to transmit the heat, let it cool off again, then we'll go back to heating the whole area. This is one of the fastest ways I found of doing plastic shaping, is using the nap gas torch like I have here. It does not take long at all, even with a thick plastic, like Volkswagen Beetle is. Even with a thick plastic, it doesn't take long to get penetrating heat. The last little bit, try to get that last little bit that was heated all the way through. We can actually create that plastic properly. Plastic is shaped when it's the right temperature. Tools that I tend to use a lot, just a standard body hammer. A lot of times I'll use that point right there to get in tight spots. Right? Or this is the one I've used basically since day one. A little bit bigger, a little bit more broad. Right. It's the one I'm choosing to use right now. Well, I'm just going to start playing with the plastic now. A lot of times the plastic can be really hard to kind of glide across. I know it sounds weird, but like you can like wipe a open skin part of your body, smear it on there a little bit better, and your tool will now glide easy. It's so minuscule that it won't affect anything, and you can sand off the paint when you're done shaping the plastic anyways. But just that little bit, so I'll wipe a little bit, and not gross. I shower daily, sometimes twice a day. It's just the natural oils from the skin give the metal what it needs to slide on the surface. We don't want to get rid of the paint just yet. That reflective surface that's actually allowing us to see high, low points, seeing us what's not right, what's right, where we have to go. About over here now. Now a lot of times in the area the damage is bigger, like this one is, I'll try to work it circle instead of just attacking one spot all at once, trying to get one spot perfect right then. I'll work a spot. If the area around it doesn't seem right, then I'll start working the area around it. I'll come back to that spot once I rework the plastic in the gym that's around it. And usually by the time you hit that spot, once maybe second round around, usually the plastic ends up sitting where you want it to. See, plastic is molded to a certain form, a certain shape. Right? So when it gets deformed, it's unnatural pressure. It wants to push everywhere. Right? That's where usually you have problems. Like when you're repairing plastic, an auto body, things have to go through a bake cycle and a paint through. And that's, 120, 140 degree temperature for 20 to an hour. It will warp out any surface that's not right. So if there's unnatural pressure there, that heat is just going to deform it. But a lot of times after it comes back from the paint food, the plastic isn't sitting the way you have left it. So and it becomes a big problem, right? So a lot of it is just trying to reshape it. When you reshape the plastic, you get everything to sit naturally, unless it's, you know, actually split open and separated like it is into here. It's gonna want to go back to its normal shape, right? Like this, no matter what I'm doing, it's just separating right there. It's not separated all the way through, it's only on the front side here. So it's probably like maybe 40 to 60% split all the way through. So naturally it wants to open up this way because that's where the plastic is actually stretched, expanded the surface material. So as we relieve all the pressure, unnatural pressure in this area, start getting out this little dip that's in through here, right? And make sure that this body line is nice and pronounced in through here. We'll work out a little dip that's in through here. Make sure this corner is nice and flat. Make sure we don't have any more rolling up here. Keep going. I like to try to handle all the worst cases first. What I mean by that is like anything that I think is most significantly distorted, that's usually where I want to put my focus on first. Right? Because that could be potentially pulling on something else. It's not allowing the certain area to sit flat at all. So you work the bad stuff first, and then you just keep kind of going around, playing with the plastic. And when it's right, it sits where it wants to sit. You got to do a lot of torques. I'm not using a lot of pressure with this. I'm using my hand to get a little bit of leverage, but it's not a lot. I don't know if you can catch in the video the shadow of the point of the hammer working the plastic under there. I hope so. I'm going to have to try to dial that in later on. Do it better for you in some other videos. I will be doing a lot of that. You want to make sure that corner is not pressed in there too much. Now a lot of times what I'll do is I will overstretch an area when I'm working it in the opposite direction of wherever it's deformed. So I'll go past where I want it to sit. Plastic, it's all interlocked, it's all intertwined together. It'll naturally start settling. Move different away from that as a memory to it. When you haven't reshaped the plastic properly, that memory wants to pull it unnaturally. Right? So that's why reshaping this plastic is so key to doing the repair, because if my base material is nice, it's where it's supposed to be, there's no unnatural pressure, all my body lines are correct, then when I go to do the welding and everything else is going to like sit. I'm not going to have to put any kind of repair material covering up a problem. I'm going to have raw exposed plastic like it was if it came brand new from the manufacturer. So I've learned by fixing a lot of problems in the past, other people trying to attempt to fix it with adhesives and things, it never turns out right. So I don't like to cover my plastic if I can help it. Does it mean it's perfect? No. There's sometimes I do, but I use the right materials for it. It's a flexible plastic repair, 2-part. 3M makes a really good product, 5887. That's the only thing I'll use on plastic, and I try to make it as minuscule as possible. Because remember, anything we put on this is a foreign substance. It's not. It's designed to stick to it, but it's just that you're sticking to it. There's so many different factors that could cause problems with that later on down the road. So I like to actually spend more time doing this here, right? And then when we go do the welding, our surface is flat, so that way when we smooth everything off, and we sand it all flat, it doesn't need anything. But if we rush this part, then all the results aren't as good as they could. Here, there's a pretty big area that's kind of dipped in through here. going to break out one of my favorite tools. I'm going to like this one. Homemade contraption and did butchering and quite a few different things. Started off with my grandfather's Craftsman table saw bench. Sat in my parents' storage forever, sat in my basement my whole life growing up as a kid. I grabbed it from my dad and I said, I can use that. I was using it with the table saw bench on top is the way they work plastic, and then it was just too big, bulky. And then so I saw this other piece of metal and I butchered things. And I created my Frankenstein with it. It's my workbench. Whenever I need a big area of plastic work at once, I like to use this because I can affect a larger area. Right? And I can put some serious pressure into this, right? So if you have a larger deformation, you need more than just fine tuning. You need more like a workforce. That's what this guy's going to do. What I like about this, instead of expand on this idea, but I can change this out. I could have a different head on here where I could like have a point and I could look body lines out. That's what I like right now. Reshape it. See, when you heat it up, only to the right temperature, not too hot. Do this anytime you need to. You're not putting the plastic at all. It's a normal life cycle. About hot and cold outside, right? Plastic design to handle this kind of stuff. Just gonna heat the plastic up just enough to make it look as soft for us. Do anything more than that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this guy. Allow me to actually work plastic for a larger area. Get right in my body line. Pull pressure away from my crack area. It's over there. Right, because everything's connected. So as I'm pulling the pressure away from that damage area towards this upper body line up here, right, I'm taking away the buckling pressure that was going on here. As you see, that's already sitting a lot more naturally flat. So I'm going to continue to work over this way. I'll continue to work over this way, essentially fading it out into both of them. So what we'll have is a true plane surface coming across. Right? Now, I define plane surface in a lot different, probably but it's just consistent. Right? Smooth, consistent surface across. And that's what we're looking for. Because nothing is truly flat, so it's not like I can, block a flat surface on here. No, what we're trying to do is provide a consistent line, a consistent arch, a consistent line across there. So when we're reshaping, it's so important to make sure that we're creating that same arc all the way across. So we're looking down the line here, and through here I see a dip in the body line here. So I'm actually going to work this out this way more, continuing to take more pressure away from the buckling up on top. This, I really want to get something good, sit it and just push down on one side or the other side. Some good pressure. Drag it across that body line. This was very essential to me figuring out how to stay doing plastic, especially as I started getting a little bit older. Trying to power through everything with my shoulder, weird angles, and just deteriorating joints and stuff in my shoulder, trying to hold that. So having this bench that I've created here really allows you to look straight at what you're trying to work. move the plastic around. That's already much nicer. That's already much more consistent, much smoother. You don't have any dipping there. And don't be afraid if you push out a little too far in through here. Don't be afraid about it. You can always push it back down in. Pushing it back out for right now will help the whole area sit flush. Right? We'll push it back down into it and we'll give it natural pressure back again. Right now, it's better to have a little bit of a rounded, unnatural pressure this way, right? Because it's going to follow the natural curve that's going across this whole surface, right? So it's okay if it's a little bit accentuated because we can always drop that back down into the angle a bit more. So that way, instead of being a nice bow over, we'll push that down in a little bit, we'll collapse the angle, so it'll sit in there and we'll actually lock the plastic. You can see that, that's almost sitting flat now. I'm doing really nothing other than just kind of pushing on it with my hand as I'm working the plastic up from over here. Not really going to get that to sit completely flat. That's pretty basic. Straightening the plastic, right? We'll sand it down, and then we'll do some blocking on it, and I'll have that in the next video.